Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my Batman Arkham City hard plus difficulty, video walkthrough. And this is leaving the League. So we've just finished with the League of Assassins and we're on our way back up to Arkham City, and I think we're going to be going to Mr. Freeze, which is an interesting one. And this is going to be a case of we're going to be traversing the city once again. We're going to be backtracking through all the areas we've previously been through, and Batman's going to do a lot of chin-wagging over his lovely radio, and we're going to have to fight Mr. Freeze. And the Mr. Freeze fight coming up is pretty challenging on New Game Plus, because you have to hit him with a lot of different things. And for anybody that's not done the fight, what you have to do is, it's not a conventional fight of beating him up. You have to do different takedowns on him, and you need to use various areas of the world to do it. And you're in a room that's got about 10 or 11 different takedowns you can do. And on your normal game, you had to do maybe 5 or 6. On a New Game Plus, I think you need to do about 9 or 10. It seems to take a long time to kill him. And it's not necessarily challenging, it's just knowing which ones to do and getting them to work, because if you fuck them up, Mr. Freeze will kill you very quickly, because, you know, the guy's a badass. But it's not too bad, and it does have a video for it, so it's going to have a video to itself, so I can explain the strategies and what I'm going to be doing. But we've just got to get out of the subway tunnels, and I'm going to talk about something different, because there's not really much to say about this stuff. It's all pretty standard Batman fare. And if you follow where I go, you'll find your way, hopefully. And there's a waypoint at all times that you can usually see if you don't have the giant letters level up on the damn screen, because the game was designed by a moron. But you should never really get lost. Your map is your best friend. Just look for the bat signs. It's generally going to point you in the right direction. So what I'm going to talk about is the Batman movies, and the movies as a franchise. So I've mentioned before on older videos in this series that I really like Batman. I've always liked Batman. Ever since I was a kid, I was just hooked on Batman. Don't know why, he's just awesome, and there's a special place in my heart for him. And the very first Batman film is one of my favourite films of all time. And I do realise that it's heavily flawed in many ways, and there are many films that are better than it in every conceivable fashion, but to me it's special, and it'll always be special because of the time in my life that I watched it. I was very young and I was very impressionable, and it's just a superb Batman. It took it from being a comic book to being something extremely serious, yet still kind of silly and still very fun, but it put it in the real world, and it made it believable, as opposed to, you know, some of the other comic book films at the time, like the Spider-Man ones and the Captain America ones, where it was just a dude in tights running around, a bunch of 70s hairdos and flares and shit, and they weren't very good. But Batman was, and Jack Nicholson as the Joker is the best Joker by far, in my opinion. I respect completely what Heath Ledger did, and I do believe he gave an expert performance, but Jack Nicholson was better in every way for me. He will always be Joker, and I just love him in this film. It has so many iconic moments and just iconic lines. Everything about just some of the little rants that the Joker goes on when he's killing people, and it's just so dark, and it's expertly crafted thanks to Tim Burton. And I'm not the biggest fan of Tim Burton, because the guy went off the fucking deep end and got obsessed with Johnny Depp. But he makes good films, or he makes a majority of good films, I do believe, and especially the Batman ones. They're just superb. His gothic take on things is replicated by nobody at all. He does it so well, and it's a really nice aesthetic to set it in. And Michael Keaton is my favourite Batman, by far, because he's dark, he's brooding, he doesn't speak all that often, but when he does, it's generally impactful and it means something, and I really like Keaton as a Batman. I always have. I like Keaton as an actor. I think he's heavily underrated. He hasn't made that many great decisions in his acting career, but guy's still complete gold. And the clock tower scene at the end of Batman personifies to me exactly what Batman means, because it's just perfect. I'm just going to interject here. I don't take down anybody in this room, because there's a super quick way of doing this. If you come over to this barrel that I'm behind, you can use your disruptor to stop these two guys here's guns from working, and then you can just run past them both, open up a corrugated door, and completely skip this room. It's the fastest and easiest way through, and it'll save you a hell of a lot of hassle. But the clock tower sequence where Batman goes into the church and he's following Joker, and Joker has Kim Basinger's character, who I can't remember, I think it's Vicky Vale, and he's taking her up to the tower and dancing with her and everything, and Batman's making his way up these innumerable amount of steps. It's ridiculous amounts of steps. The tower isn't even that big, it's so ridiculous, but it's still awesome. And every so often he's taking on Joker's henchmen, and there's this black dude that's spinning these sticks and doing all these flips and looking like an absolute kung fu master, and Batman just moves out of the way and he falls down the damn tower. It's just brilliant, and then he gets to the top, and there's this, it's just such a good scene, and if you've not seen it, you should see it, 'cause it's fantastic. And the film's been out like 30 years now or something, so it's been out 20 years, I do believe. I think it was 91, and it's just sublime and it's terrific. And it paved the way for another absolutely fantastic Batman film, which is, of course, Batman Returns. And I can remember being a kid at primary school. I think I might have been, how old will I have been? Maybe about 6 or 7, maybe younger. And I remember going to bed for school, because I had to go to bed early to get up for school. And my dad came upstairs and he woke me up once I'd fallen asleep. And it was probably only about 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night when he woke me up. But when you're a kid, that feels like middle of the night. That feels, ridiculously late. And he said, come downstairs. And I didn't really know what was going on, so I came downstairs, I sat on the sofa, and they'd rented Batman Returns from our local shop on good old VHS. And they put it in and I watched it, and I was just blown away, because, like I say, I love Batman, and the second one is another one of the best Batman movies ever made, because everything about it is just bigger, more grander, more complicated, yet just still at the same quality level, and it's real fucking dark, and I like that about it. It actually scared me a little bit when I watched it, because the Penguin does some horrific things in the film, and there's just a really brooding atmosphere in his lair, and in all those winter sculptures that are kinda uncanny and crazy, and it's just another fantastic film. This fight here is pretty tough, by the way. The best thing to do is to build your combo and then hit the guys with the doors with a lovely executable move. It's the best strategy, and then just focus on everybody else. You might die a few times, but the checkpoint is really, really effective on this, and you shouldn't get too frustrated. But Batman Returns raised the stakes so much. It had multiple villains in it, which was something we didn't see before. It had anti-heroes in it with Catwoman. It had this romance dynamic with Batman that didn't, amount to bullshit and nothing. It actually went somewhere really interesting with Selena Kyle's character, who's played by Michelle Pfeiffer. And Michelle Pfeiffer, my goodness, looks extremely attractive in that movie, and she's also a really, really good actress. And it just totally works, because you don't know who to vouch for, and Batman goes through some real shit times. He gets a lot of adversity in it, but the very start of the film, when Christopher Walken's really evil character, I've not even mentioned how fantastic Christopher Walken in this. He's just really sinister and perfect for the role. But I think he's like a mayor or something, and he's trying to increase his political campaign. And it's Christmas, so he's announcing turning on the lights, and there's this big Christmas tree in the middle of Gotham. And this giant present turns up, and it's obviously from the Penguin, but they don't know this at this point. So everybody thinks it's just a trick, or they think it's a novelty thing for the press. And all these clowns bust out of this giant present and just start fucking shit up. They start beating dudes up, they start causing chaos. There's this one fire breather that sets fire to this kiddie shop for no reason. It's amazing. They're doing all sorts of madness, and shit's kicking off. And you just see I think it's the bat sign goes up into the sky. You see brooding Bruce Wayne sitting in his chair, look up to the sky, and then there's the Batmobile, and he just turns up and he just starts dishing out some fucking street justice like a boss. And he's firing his bat claw, and the guy's like, you missed, and he pulls it, and he rips concrete out and takes him down, and he's beating dudes up, and it's just like, oh god, I want to be Batman so bad right now. The guy's a legend, and it's just a fantastic film. But I'm gonna have to continue this little diatribe on the next video, guys. So as per usual, thanks for watching. I hope it's helping, and you take care now.